Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Sorry, I just had a drink, some Ribena, and it's gone down the wrong way. So, you're looking at a very sad Vicky Marie chats this morning. I just feel such an overwhelming sadness for Madeleine Soto. So the Madeleine Soto case, we followed it, haven't we, right from day one, which I think it was February the 13th, wasn't it, last year when Madeleine went missing? Wasn't it the same day that Sebastian Rogers went missing? And unfortunately, or fortunately, which way you look at it, because of course nobody still knows what happened to Sebastian, it was discovered quite quickly what had happened to Madeleine, but unfortunately, she was deceased, wasn't she? Her body was found. And not only that, as if that's not bad enough, it turned out that Madeleine had actually been being abused for many years, from a very young age, by sinister Stephan Stearns, her sort of pseudo stepfather. Don't know if you could call him a stepfather, because he and Jen, Madeleine's mother, Jen Soto, they never married, did they? Or, and it was a very on-off relationship. So I don't know if you could call him really a stepfather. He was like a pseudo stepfather. Yeah, and probably from the age of 8 or even younger. Madeleine, it turned out, had been being abused by this man. And not only that, he had recorded all the images, videos, on his phone. He had about 600, over 600 CP images, most of which I think were Madeleine. So anyway, Stephan was arrested and charged with the CP images on his phone, and then later on was actually charged with the murder of Madeleine. And Madeleine, this was the last day she was alive, or that we know of. We don't know what time she died. But this was her birthday party on the Sunday, sometime after that birthday party. And before she was supposed to go to school the next morning, Madeleine's young life was just extinguished by Stephan Stearns. Now, will we ever find out what actually happened? So we're in a position now where Stephan, he asked for a plea deal on both. He was just about to start his trial for the CP images and videos, etc., on his phone. And he decided to take a plea deal, and a plea deal for both charges, for both the charges of the things on his phone and for the murder of Madeleine, which was supposed to be, the trial was supposed to be happening later this year. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the plea deal that he took. We're going to watch the plea hearing. We're going to hear the victim impact statements. And, this sadness that I feel, because these photos, we've got so used to looking at Madeleine's little face. We feel like we know her, even though obviously we don't. But there's never going to be, again, whenever I see these photos, there's never going to be any new photos of Madeleine, apart from what's already been in the public domain and what photos that have already been taken. Madeleine is frozen in time at 13 years old. She won't become a woman. She won't have children. She won't get married. She won't graduate from high school. She won't have a career. She won't do any of those things because Madeleine is deceased. And I think this is like a finality of Stephan taking that plea deal, and he's been sentenced as well, all in one day, all in one court hearing, after, over a year of the police collecting evidence. We've looked at evidence, we've looked at interviews, all that, and then he just takes a plea deal. Is it fair? Is it justice? Or is it a good thing that he took the plea deal? That's what we're going to be looking at. And what did the plea deal consist of? Very strange to me to plead no contest to a murder charge. To plead no contest. What the hell does that mean? No contest. So you're not saying it's not said he's guilty. He's not stood up there and said, I am guilty. So it makes you quite angry, really. But anyway, first of all, before we get into it, I want to say thank you to all of you for liking, for subscribing. Special thank you to all of you who've cared about Madeleine, followed this case from day one. Madeleine is at the centre of this case, and at the end of the day, it's Stephan Stearns that did what he did to her. I think a lot of people, maybe in her family, even friends, etc., will be kicking themselves now for not seeing signs. But Stephan Stearns, he's a manipulator. There's loads of them out there. Won't be the first time, and it won't be the last time that a case like this has happened. Somebody inveigling themselves into a family. Maybe some of the family members, like the grandma, apparently was thinking, there's something a little bit strange. She didn't like him. But all the others, he was in the family. Even Madeleine's biological father did not suspect Stephan. So I don't think you can ever underestimate how manipulative people can be. Stephan's a prime example, isn't he? Because he's not an aggressive man, is he? He's not aggressive. He'll have groomed Madeleine for so long, and not only that, groomed her whole family. Anyway, so special thank you, of course, to my members. I think this week in Members Live we might have a full look at Stephan's arrest and unedited, and let him suffer a bit of humiliation. I'd just love to see Stephan Stearns being humiliated. I'd like to spread it right across the internet for what he did to Madeleine. He deserves humiliation. Who else? So, I want to say thank you to, special thank you to my members. It's rattling towards Thursday, which is Members Live, of course. Special thank you to those of you who've bought me Ko-fis, sent super stickers, PayPal'd me, ordered things from my shop. Don't forget, on the coffee page is the Vicky Marie shop, where you can order merchandise. I can customize anything for you as well. If you just drop me an email, tell me what you want, I can make it specially for you. You can even put your name on it. What else? I've lost track completely of what I was saying. So thank you so much. Any of you that support my channel in any positive way, really, really thank you. But a special thank you for caring about the victims that we talk about, especially people like Madeleine. I think the reason why I feel so sad, because I feel like it's sort of an ending to a case now after he's pled guilty, he's been sentenced. Well, he hasn't pled guilty, he's pled no contest, he's been sentenced. But of course, it's not a finality for, Madeleine's family who have to live without her. And of course, it feels like an ending, but it's not an ending, is it? Because the pain carries on. Everyone involved in this case will have a life sentence of pain and hurt to cope with, and the loss of Madeleine. And Madeleine, of course, has lost everything. But anyway, I hope she's sort of safe where she is now, flying free around the universe or in the arms of Jesus, whichever way you want to look at it. I just hope she's at peace. So, hello to all of my lovely lurkers. Hi, thank you for watching. Hello to the loathsome lurkers. And now I'm going to go into the chat. Oh, hello to replay crew. Sometimes I forget, don't I, to say hello. And hello to those of you in chat that I'm going to come in and say hello to you now. Thank you for joining in this chat. Hi, Joanne. Joanne, you got your notification. Hi, sheep farming. I'm good, thanks. Hope you are too. Hi, Lily. Hi, Bluebell. Yeah, it's right, Bluebell. It's sort of, it's an uneasy sort of there's some reasons I'm pleased about it and others that I'm not, and I'm going to talk about that. Hi, Yvonne. Oh, don't have a good day wherever you're going. Oh, he is a coward, exactly, Bluebell. Oh, thank you so much. God bless to you as well. Thank you, sheep farming. Let's have the thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I just feel very sad, and just feels like an ending. But it's like it should be satisfactory because he has at least he's not contesting anything. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But thank you, sheep farming. That's really kind. Thank you so much for the super chat. And yeah, hope you're going well as well. Right. Back to the chat. Hi, Daniel. Happy Tuesday. So he's taken this plea deal. So he has pled guilty to the offences of having, pictures of Madeleine, videos, hundreds and hundreds on his phone in compromising positions. And in the videos, Madeleine looks like she's asleep, the police said. So she was drugged. She was obviously drugged, and that's why she was tired at school. Maybe sometimes she didn't even realise what had been happening to her in the middle of the night. I still feel on that fateful night that maybe Stephan gave her something, went off waiting for it to work, he said he used to wander around the house and that. And when he went back to Madeleine, I feel that maybe she'd passed then. Maybe he gave her too much. But then, of course, there's all this speculation about her being strangled. And, of course, now it's not coming to a court case. We won't find out for sure. Even, is it clear for sure if that's how she died? I don't know. I don't know what's going to come out now that the case is over. And this is what's so irritating about this deal that Stephan has taken, because he's taken a plea deal, he's confessed to those pictures and videos and things and pled guilty. But as far as the red rum of Madeleine is concerned, he has pled no contest. So that's not admitting guilt, is it? That's just saying, I'm not contesting it. It's not guilty. He's not stood there and said, I confess, I red rum to Madeleine, and this is how I did it, and this is why I did it. Nobody's ever going to find out. There's only Stephan and, of course, Madeleine, who's not with us any longer, that know exactly what happened that night. And that's a bit, you just think that's annoying that he hasn't had to stand there and actually admit his guilt. Face everyone and admit his guilt. Now, he had to sit through all the victim impact statements, which were very emotional. And just a bit of a spoiler alert, because we're going to watch it, but Jen was not there. Jen Soto was not there. And, you know, read of that what you will. I know it was while I was watching it on Court TV or whatever, a lot of people, you know, a lot of people are very down on Jen. I know that. I'm not commenting about Jen, because to me, Jen didn't do it. Jen is guilty of not being a very good mum, maybe, and totally sort of obsessed with herself. But I'm still not convinced that Stephan wasn't drugging her as well. And I feel that it's unfair to blame Jen for everything, because none of that family, even Madeleine's biological father, they didn't do enough either. So, you know, I think it's unfair to give Jen all the blame, because Jen is living without her daughter now. And not only that, she's got to live with the fact that she invited that predator, not only invited him into their home, but sent Madeleine off to bed with him. I really think Jen just was so oblivious to everything. That's my opinion. I know people have a different opinion, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their thoughts. But she wasn't there. She didn't give a victim impact statement. I think Stephan will be reaching out to Jen again, because that's sort of person he is. You know, whether she will respond or not, I don't know. I mean, she could be totally wrecked mentally, for all we know. Why did she not turn up there? Or maybe she was given advice not to turn up there because people would have been nasty to her. No doubt people would have been nasty to Jen. And to me, she's coping with enough as it is. So Jen knows what she did or what she didn't do. And if she's guilty of anything more than being thicko and not seeing what was right in front of her face, then that's for her to, you know, that's for her. God will judge her on that. I'm not going to judge her on that, because I think there's a lot of women out there take men into their, and men who take women into their homes, you know, as sort of pseudo step parents to their children, and don't realise, you know, what a viper they've taken into their bosom. I personally, that's how I feel. So, and there'll be loads of people out there now don't even know what their partner is doing. Might even be their, you know, the child's biological father. You know, just don't know what's going on sometimes. It's quite scary, so that makes me sad as well, because, you know, Madeleine looked like a happy child, didn't she? She seemed to be close to Stephan. I think Stephan groomed Madeleine with love, not with violence. That's how they work. You know, it's not all about aggression. You know, he'll have groomed her with love, buying her things. He's like about 12 in his head anyway. You know, how childish he is with his big purple dragon and his PlayStation games and his Warhammer and his, you know, Tamagotchis and what have you. You know, he's like a 40-year-old man still acting as if he's 13. So that's how he'll have got around Madeleine. And Jen, I think, just didn't see Stephan as any sort of threat, or, you know, because also he wasn't really very sex active with her. I think she sort of thought him as almost asexual. I don't know, she just didn't see it. She just did not see it. And then, of course, you've got his parents. I wonder what they think of it all now that he's coming out and, you know, actually took the plea deal. Anyway, sorry, I'm waffling a little bit. Hi, Annie. Yeah, well, I don't think we'll ever see Jen. How can we? She may even change her name, or, you know, because she'll be terrible. Could you imagine Jen? It's a bit like Katie Proudfoot, isn't it? The public end up hating them so much, even though they haven't actually done anything or nothing that they've been prosecuted for. You know, they won't want to appear in public. Should probably, you know, if people should have to change their appearance, maybe change their name. You know, it's because mud sticks, doesn't it? Even though there is no evidence. But most people are really angry towards Jen, even if they don't think she actually did anything. They're really angry towards her for neglecting to protect her daughter. But as I say, when we look at these victim impact statements, who did protect Madeleine? Nobody did. But then, is that because Stephan covered it all up so well? You know what? I think you've got to be careful of blaming other people for what Stephan did. Stephan did it. Stephan abused her. Stephan took the photos. Stephan took the videos. Stephan murdered her eventually. Stephan RAPD'd her while she was, sedated or whatever. He did it. Nobody else did it. Now, people might have made it easier for him by not realising what a monster he was. But I think you've got to be careful from taking away how evil he is. But, he's still Mr. Prissy, Stephan. He's like, when he came to give his statement at the end, like, we'll see. Oh, my God, I was gasping, absolutely gasping, that he would have the cheek to say what he said and to say it in the way that he said it. He couldn't just stand there and be sorry, and maybe even say, like, nobody else had anything to do with this. I take full responsibility, blah, 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 blah. No. I mean, he's practically blaming God at one point, I think. Everything's everybody else's fault. He didn't mean it. Didn't mean to take 600 photos and videos. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Oh, I've took that photo again. Oh, my God. Oh, another one. How many is that? 270. Oh, another one. 271. Like as if it was as if he's accidentally set the video rolling or, it's just incredible that he can try and make everyone feel sorry for him. He even said that about how his loss, how, Maddie was a joy. Yes, she was a joy to you. She was a special joy to you because you've been raping her since she was 6-7 years old. She was a joy. God, I was fuming when I heard him speak. How dare he? How dare he even say that? Yeah, she would have been more of a joy if you didn't RAPE her or kill her. God, he's just oblivious. Absolutely oblivious, this man. All he's caring about is his loss of Madeleine. And I really don't think he killed her on purpose because I think he was having too good a time with Madeleine. Said that right from the beginning. Unless she did maybe threaten to expose him, or I still don't think he would have killed her. It doesn't strike me as an aggressive person. Something happened where it went wrong. Maybe he just lost control in a moment. Or maybe he drugged her and he gave her too much. Will we ever know? Because now he's taken this plea deal. He doesn't have to say what happened. It's just no contest. So he doesn't have to reveal what actually happened. So that seems like, although it's sort of justice, obviously, because he's going to prison for the rest of his life, still doesn't feel right, does it? That, nobody gets to know what actually happened and all the work that the police have done. God, do you know how many images I've got on my phone from those document dumps that they sent me and what have you? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And the police have gone through all that painstaking work. And now he's just taking a plea deal. I mean, it's just like, he should be charged for that. I don't know, like money-wise, or not that he hasn't got any money anyway, but it's sort of like justice, but not quite justice, because he doesn't have to say anything he doesn't have to face the music. All he had to do was sit there through those victim impact statements. He probably detached and went off into his Tamagotchi world or whatever. He's probably playing Genshin Impact or some stupid game up in his head. And cutting off, not listening to those people. Anyway, doesn't feel like justice. Doesn't feel like justice, does it? Yeah, and I think he probably has drugged Jen. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Hi, Friday Tie-Day. Yeah, complete manipulative. I agree. I'm not like defending her in the sense of she should have been more switched on. Of course she should. But, we don't know because she wasn't in a good place anyway, was she? So, and then if he was definitely doubling up on her medication, I think. Probably even that night he doubled up on her medication. So he didn't want her waking up while he's in the middle of abusing Madeleine. And don't forget, the other people that were living in that house, they didn't know either. It wasn't only Jen. Nobody knew. Nobody suspected. He was probably going around slipping bloody sedatives into everyone's cocoa. I mean, don't forget, he had a history of it. He was supposed to have put SEMEN in girls' drinks when he was at high school, thinking it might make them pregnant. He's a disgusting man. Disgusting. That's the real Stephan Stearns. And then he gets all prissy like about other people. When he was talking about his friends, he'd been talking about, do they know that they're not supposed to do that? Yeah, well, you're not supposed to abuse 6-7-year-old girls, Stephan, but it didn't stop you, did it? It's just crazy. Anyway, in another way, he had to take a plea deal, really, didn't he? Because he would have got the death penalty. And his defence had tried to get the judge to rule that these videos and pictures couldn't be produced in court. Now, when that failed, really, I mean, because if they would have been successful with that, there would have been no case against Stephan. If the defence would have managed to get the court for whatever reason, because they were trying to say that the police had not requested permission to look at everything, they were trying to challenge the procedure that the police went through. Anyway, the judge wasn't having any of that, so he just said, no. So really, he had to take a plea deal. So he was clearly guilty. You can't argue with photos and videos, can you? And don't forget, they'd taken those pictures of Stephan's button mushroom. He's got that distinctive freckle on it. I've seen it in technical glory, to prove that it was his button mushroom performing these acts on Madeleine to prove. So really, he had to plead guilty in that case. And then why he's gone ahead to plead guilty about the murder, I don't know. Maybe, again, not guilty, no contest. Must remember, he hasn't pled guilty. He's pled no contest. And I'd like to be a fly on the wall in his phone calls with his parents now. I bet he's still saying to his parents, trying to insinuate somebody else had something to do with it, like Jen maybe, or anybody, and they'll be like, well, they're like, what did his mum call him? An empath. He's not an empath. Stephan Stearns an empath. An empath would never do those horrible things to a child. Oh my God, that's what his mummy said about him, Fruit Loop. Anyway, never mind. Oh, so the other thing I just wanted to say is, hi, David. So the reason that I'm sort of glad, if you like, I'm glad that he's pled guilty as far as the images and that are concerned, because, it would have been horrible for Madeleine's been, humiliated enough through her young life, hasn't she? And then the thought of, going to court, all those pictures, images, videos being shown, and you know what it's like, then they end up on social media and God knows what. That would be awful for Madeleine. So I'm glad for that reason. I'm glad. And even with the no contest about the murder, I'm glad, because all the gory details, it's an insult to Madeleine's memory, isn't it? But I wish he would have pled guilty rather than no contest. He's a horrible man. Exactly, Annie. You don't get less empathetic than Stephan Stearns, do you? That's what his mum said. He's an empath. He loves animals. Hitler loved animals. Lots of people love animals that do terrible things. So Hitler, perhaps he was an empath, eh? Maybe Hitler was an empath. Yeah. Anyway, so, so I'm glad for that reason, but I'm sorry that he won't be made to actually say what happened to Madeleine, own up to what a horrible person he is. And, as for Jen, I'm not going to criticise Jen. There's plenty of YouTube channels out there. They're all over Jen like a rash. To me, it's not fair, because if the police thought she'd done anything, she would have been arrested by now. She's not the best mother in the world. But then I'm not the best mother in the world. Who is, I don't know. I think Stephan could get round people, because he comes over as so inoffensive. He's like, he just come over like that, doesn't he? He's like, poor me. He's like a big man baby. We saw that right at the beginning when Madeleine went missing and Jen was comforting him. He's like this man baby. I think Jen just really could not believe that Stephan could have done this to Madeleine. Even though when she was shown the photos, I think she just was in complete denial. I wouldn't, I hope she's okay. I think she's going through a lot, not only losing her daughter, but finding out that she bears some responsibility for it, even though it was unwitting. I just don't know how she's coping with losing Madeleine and, the responsibility that she bears. But it won't only be her. So we're going to see the victim impact statements, and you'll see, I bet there's a few of them that feel guilty that they did not see. So apparently she had a brilliant birthday party as far as the victim impact statements were concerned. I'm glad she looks happy. I hope she had a great day. But she didn't know that was her last day on earth, was it? Poor Madeleine. I think everyone let Madeleine down, really. But anyway. So let's have a look at the court hearing from the beginning. I'll probably chip in every now and again with a little comment like getting really angry. But I'll try not to interfere too much so you can hear.
I pray to God.
What's going on? We're going to watch the whole thing bit by bit. So get tea. And let's see. Wait, get to the beginning. So here they come. One thing I noticed during this court hearing, some of the police, like in the court, like this guy and others, the way sometimes they were looking at Stephan, they must think, God, just give me 5 minutes in a room with him. Because a lot of them, they'll have children themselves, And what Stephan did is, it's the worst, isn't it? Can't get much worse. We've got the abuse followed by murder. What more can you do? Years of abuse culminating with murder of that girl. So, how much worse can you get, really? Here it is. I bet he didn't want to go there that day. At least the judge made him turn up. Look at him looking at him. That guy then. Sorry, I just got to look at it because I do like to see things like that. When, people are looking at him with contempt. Do like to see that, because we always have to remember, look at that guy's face. We always have to remember there's a lot of good men in the world. There's a lot of brilliant stepdads out there, adoptive dads, etc., or father figures. We can't let someone like Stephan make us think that all men are bad.
State of Florida versus Stephan Michael Stearns, 2024, CF 1293, 2024, CF 632. Appearances for the record, beginning with the state, please.
Danielle Pennell,
William J.
the state.
On behalf of the defense.
Alicia Smith.
Beth Borden.
Peter Mills, Alex Johnson.
But you just, to me, just even looking at him, he's just feeling sorry for himself. He's in his head with his Tamagotchi or whatever. He's not, he never once says sorry directly to these people that are going to give their victim impact statement. He's sorry for what he's lost. He's not sorry for what anyone else has lost. He still feels he's had the special relationship with Madeleine, who was a bloody child, for God's sake. But because he's such a child in his head, he thought they were in a relationship.
We have an online presence named Stephanie. Is that representative from the survivor family?
Yeah, sure.
Admitted an online presence, Stephanie. So admitting Russ Walker. Court has received 2 plea forms, one for each of the cases for CF 1293, 2024, CF 632. Court has also received an addendum to the plea form. Borden and Smith, do you wish to walk me through the terms of the agreement?
Yes, Judge. Thanks. Mr. Stearns will be entering a plea in 693 case to counts 1 through 20. It will be up to counsel and all process 21 through 60. And I'm concurrently with the 1293 case and adjudication of the life concurrent, and then officially.
Thank you. And state as to the addendum. I'm going to ask the folks that have joined us remotely to please mute their microphones. State any special considerations in the addendum to the plea form?
No, Your Honor, we are just incorporating the plea addendum into the
State of Florida filed a notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. That was on June 7th, 2024. State formally going to be withdrawing that notice of intent to seek the penalty of death.
After the acceptance of the plea announcement.
Thank you. Should that announcement be made by the state of Florida, the proposed sentence would be the maximum sentence allowed by law. I'm going to place you under oath.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to enter into this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I have two plea forms in my hand. One document looks like this. Second document looks like this. They're each plea forms for your respective cases. They each have a signature. That signature is the same on both plea documents. That signature is next to my finger. Can you tell me if that is your signature?
It's hard to tell from here.
Deputy, will you provide these forms?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defendant?
Yes, it is.
What your signature and a set of initials after each of the 26 paragraphs on each document, those initials being SS, tell me is that you have had an opportunity to read these documents. Do you have any difficulty reading and writing the English language?
I have no difficulty.
And your signature indicates that you are aware of each of the 26 paragraphs and all of the terms and conditions of these two documents. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have a secondary document. It is an addendum to the plea form. That document is 4 pages long. It appears to have the same initials on the bottom of each of the pages, as well as a signature at the conclusion of the case along with your attorney, Ms. Borden and Ms. Smith. I'm going to ask the deputies to please provide this document to you, and I'm going to ask you to verify that this is your signature.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
What your signature on this document tells me is that you have had an opportunity to read this document, go over it with your attorneys, and you understand the 13 additional conditions of your plea agreement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Each of the plea form goes over what your trial rights would be. In 2024 CF 1293, you were charged with the allegation of first-degree premeditated murder. In 2024 CF 632, you are charged with 60 counts. The first 9 counts being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age, counts 10 through 13 being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age, counts 14 through 20 being lewd or lascivious molestation, counts 21 through 60 being unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images.
Your Honor, counts 1 through 8 are sexual battery on a child under 12.
My apologies. Counts 1 through 8 are capital sexual battery on a child under 12. The plea form contemplates in 2024 CF 1293 1 count of murder, first degree, capital offense. Plea form on 24 CF 632 contemplates counts 1 through 8, 9 through 13, 14 through 20. With the representation that the state of Florida is withdrawing their notice of intention to seek the penalty of death upon acceptance of this plea, the maximum potential sentence on 24 CF 1293 would be life in prison without possibility of parole. Has the maximum sentence been explained to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
In 24 CF 632, counts 1 through 8, the maximum potential sentence would be a mandatory sentence of life in prison without possibility of parole. 9 through 13 and 14 through 20 would be first-degree felony allegations with a maximum potential sentence of up to life in prison. You understand those maximum potential sentences on that case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that you have a right to have a jury trial as to each of these allegations? And at the jury trial, the state of Florida would have to prove those allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. At that trial, your attorneys would be with you. They are experienced, board-certified criminal expert trial attorneys. They would be cross-examining witnesses, examining the evidence against you. You would have a right to present your own witnesses and your own evidence. If you had witnesses that did not want to come to court, you could have asked me to make them come to court with a subpoena. You could have spoke at your trial, or you could have exercised your right to remain silent and not spoken. That would have been your decision after you talked those decisions over with your attorneys, and your jury would have been instructed not to consider your decision to remain silent in any way in rendering a verdict. You would have had a right to have your trial recorded and appeal any errors that occurred in the process. Do you understand you are giving up all of your trial rights if the court accepts this plea? Because I will be imposing the sentence that you have agreed with the state of Florida to be imposed upon you, and we will not be having a trial on any of these matters. You understand those things?
I understand.
And Your Honor, just for record purposes, counts 9 through 13 are first-degree felonies punishable by life, as the court indicated. Count 14 through 20 are actually life felonies.
These are life felonies with a minimum mandatory of 25 years. Is life a required sentence, or would that be a punishable by life offense?
It's a life, punishable by life offense. I just wanted the record to be clear. This court indicated first-degree felonies, punishable by life. I just wanted the record to be clear that 14 through 20 are life felonies with 25-year minimum mandatories.
So the plea form indicates that these are first-degree felonies. These are actually either capital offenses or punishable by life offenses. Do you understand that, Mr. Stern?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anyone forcing you or pressuring you into make the decision to resolve your case this way?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone made you any other promises other than what has been presented to you as the agreed-upon sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or mental issues that cause you not to understand the decision that you are making?
I am not.
You understand if you are not a United States citizen, that entry of this plea would subject you to deportation proceedings.
Yes.
If you ever before had been convicted of a sexually violent or a sexually motivated offense, entry of this plea would have subjected you to involuntary civil commitment at the conclusion of any incarcerative sentence. You understand that's the state of Florida law.
Yes.
Ms. Smith, do you have any competency concerns regarding Mr. Stern's fitness to accept this plea agreement?
No, Judge.
Ms. Borden?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Stearns, based on your responses to the court, based on your indicating that you have reviewed this decision with your attorneys, based on your initialing of the plea form and your acknowledgement that you understand all the terms and conditions, rights and obligations on these plea forms, including the addendum, the court is going to make a determination that you are alert. You have had an opportunity to discuss this with your attorneys, that you are making this decision freely and voluntarily and without coercion. The court accepts your plea. Let me see the attorneys.
Have they turned the sound off, or is it just me that can't hear it? Can you hear it, or has it gone quiet? Do you think they're redacting some of it, or let's see if I... Why has it all gone quiet? Ah, that was them that took the sound off. They must have been having some sort of legal conflab, maybe about who was to
Your Honor,
go
the first will
first.
be a written statement from Madeleine's maternal grandmother.
So now, Madeleine's grandmother, Jen's mum, she didn't turn up either, but she sent a written statement to be read. Now, she's the only one, really, I think, who actively did not like Stephan and didn't hide it. So don't forget, Stephan was not invited to Madeleine's birthday party because it was the grandma that was having the birthday party and she didn't want him there. So she at least did see through him, but she still didn't manage to protect Madeleine, did she? Nobody managed to protect her. It's very sad.
Yolanda Zambrano. Today I stand before you with a broken soul. I am Madeleine's grandmother, but to her I was not grandma. Madeleine always called me Mama. She decided that since she was little. And that's how I felt with her, like a second mother who loved her with all my heart. Madeleine was a happy little girl. She loved going shopping with me. That excited her so much that it felt like everything around us turned into color. I remember her face lighting up when we went to the stores. Holding hands, laughing together in those moments, we connected, and I felt like she knew she was loved, protected, and valued. At night, we loved to play. It was in those moments, just before bed, that she laughed the most. Sometimes it's hard for me to close my eyes because I still hear her laughter. It was free, sweet, and sincere laugh, a sound I will never forget as long as I live. But that laughter was silenced by a horrific act. The very man who betrayed her trust, her innocence, her body. And if that wasn't enough damage, he took her life. And with her, he killed a piece of our souls. Since then, life has never been the same. Our family is empty and broken. There are days when the pain is so great that I feel like I'm drowning. And every time I think of everything she could have been, everything that was stolen from her, it hurts even more. Because Maddie wasn't just a victim. She was a little girl with a beautiful future, with a unique light, with so much love to give and receive. Today I am here because Maddie can no longer speak, but I can as her grandmother. As someone who loved her with all that I am, I come to ask for justice for her memory, for everything she lived through and should never have lived through. Justice so that no one else has to go through such a horror. I will never forget Maddie, her voice, her laughter, her eyes, her dreams. All of that lives in me, and so it will live forever. My beautiful girl, one day we will be reunited and we will never be separated again. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for listening to me with deep pain and eternal love.
Right, let's have a look.
This is a statement from Angelica.
What, she's here? Is she in the? So these are like Jen's sisters, I think, aren't they? What is that? Her or that her? Doesn't look like her to me. Where is she? Or is she here? Can you? Which? This one I thought was Jen when I first saw her. That must be one of Jen's sisters, surely. So, is it? Is she one of these ladies here? I don't think the woman in the black shirt. Let's have a look. This lady here. Yeah. Not this lady. That's not the grandma. So you mean this lady? Doesn't look like her from pictures I've seen of her before. I don't think English is her first language. Is it? So maybe it was, well, apart from the fact you would probably start crying, you know, I don't think English is I've seen some interviews in Spanish with her. And just have a look at a photo of her. Let's see. Oh. Or is that her then? Is that her, the one that, is that her? Yeah. She looks quite young, doesn't she? Ah, right. Ah, this lady here. Yeah. Gosh, she's quite young, isn't she? Yeah, I thought it was Jen when I first saw that person. Yeah, now I'm looking at, look at these. Yeah, it's her, isn't it? She does look young, I've got to say. She does look young. I mean, she probably is quite young. There you go. There's a good picture of her. Yeah, she has got a look of Jen, hasn't she? Yeah. Okay, let's go back to it now. Yeah, I thought that was Jen when I first saw her, but that's the grandma. That's the grandma. Very young looking, isn't she? Really, for a grandma. But I suppose Madeleine was only 13, so.
Negro Guerrero. My name is Angelica Negro Guerrero. I lived with Maddie and Jennifer in the same house for about 2.5 years. Today, I take the liberty of expressing myself not just as a roommate, but as...
So this is one of the roommates. And of course, Stephan was, you know, taking pictures of the roommates, wasn't he? Under the bathroom floor, door. Now, she didn't know it. I mean, we've looked at that house. It's quite a small house, really. It's like, reminds me a bit of my house. It's sort of like on different floors. So there's a lot of rooms because they're on different floors, but it's not what you'd call a big house, is it? The rooms are very close together. And she didn't know anything. She didn't suspect anything. And Madeleine was being abused right next to her as she was living in that house. You know, I think people underestimate how easy it is to abuse. If you really want to abuse someone, doesn't matter who's around. People abuse in plain sight. Look at Jimmy Savile. You know, it is... You'd be surprised what people get away with. So that's why I don't judge Jen too harshly, because she's not the only one who didn't know.
Part of the family, as Maddie told me several times. How can I explain how this tragedy has impacted my life? There are so many emotions. I am an immigrant and I have lived in this country for 4 years. I left my country, Venezuela, alone with just a suitcase in my hand in search of a better future. Venezuela has been going through the worst moment in history, run by people blinded by power and money, people who have stolen the future of so many. I've always been against injustice, abuse, corruption, and evil in general. I couldn't picture myself living in a country where I had to witness every single day how a small corrupt group destroyed countless families and the beauty of my nation.
Well, you know, I'm not sure why she's making it into a political statement. I mean, Venezuela is going through lots of problems, isn't it? But do you think it's appropriate to bring up the country's political problems in a victim impact statement for a 13-year-old girl who's been abused and murdered. I don't really like that, because that's like she's using that. She knows the world is watching. Maybe, that's the only thing to do. I don't know, but let me know what you think about that. Do you think it's appropriate to it'd be like going on there and saying vote Trump or something, or don't vote Trump, or don't think you should turn a victim impact statement into a political statement. I don't like that. Didn't like that with the Rachel Marin case, when Patty Marin, her mum, who actually is probably the least close person to Rachel Marin out of her whole family, tried to turn that into a political thing, anti-immigrant thing. And apparently she saw more of Donald Trump than she did of her grandchildren, and now her grandchildren are actually suing her for taking GoFundMe money that should have gone to them. So I don't think a victim impact statement is a time for a political statement. I don't think, but you let me know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong.
And that's exactly why it has been so devastating for me to experience something so tragic, so close to me, after coming here with a hope for a better life. I ended up living under the same roof with a man who took a life of a 13-year-old girl, and with that shattered an entire family. What is the point of having dreams, plans, and opportunities if there is no life? If there is so much evil in the world? How can I explain what I felt and how this has affected me, especially considering that this same man took nude photos of my body without my consent, violating my privacy? I felt invaded, outraged, degraded, anguished, and absolutely shattered. I constantly think that my life was in danger too. I could have died. I am also a victim. And the only reason
I'm sorry. I know. I mean, yeah, she was a victim. She is a victim. Maybe that should be a separate charge, but she's making it a bit about her. That's how it feels to me. Sorry. It does. It's about Madeleine, this. Now, if she has a separate, maybe should be charged for that separately, but it's just what I think.
The reason I'm here to write this is because God is great and I know I'm under his protection. This has affected my emotional, physical, and financial stability. I haven't been able to live with strangers ever again. Right now, I rent an apartment by myself. I pay it with all my effort just to feel safe and at peace. If I already had trouble trusting people before, now it's even harder. I can't imagine even handling a neighbor too close because it gives me anxiety. I tried to get psychological help to move forward, but this is something that will forever remain in my memory and continue to affect me deeply. To this day, I wish I could wake up and realize none of this ever happened, that this was just a nightmare. I wish I could still be spending time with Maddie, making her arepas with cheese and butter like she loved, and practicing our languages together. Me learning English and her learning Spanish. I'll never forget the words she always told Jennifer. Mommy, I would love to learn Spanish so I can talk a lot with Angelica. I think about all the time, and I wish it had been me who spoke English fluently back then. Maybe she would have opened up to me about the hell she was going through with that horrible man. I want justice for Madeleine and for all the girls and women who.
Well, her English is pretty good now, isn't it? She must have been practicing it. There's nothing wrong with her English, that's for sure. If there was back then, it's only a year ago. But yeah, it's sweet, really. I didn't realise Madeleine couldn't speak Spanish because, of course, half her family was Spanish.
Have lived through something similar. I want him to pay for all the pain he caused her and the beautiful family I love with all my heart. I send all my love to the sky to Madeleine so her soul may find peace. Angelica.
Oh, it's probably being read by
This
someone.
is from Zamina Zambrano,
Yeah.
a cousin to.
Yeah, I thought her English was good. Yeah, sorry, that was read by someone. Here's another one being read by the same person, the prosecution lawyer. Yeah, I don't know why. I just assumed that was her.
Maddie Soto. To the Honorable Court, we write this letter with broken hearts still aching from the devastating loss of our beloved Maddie Soto. The pain of losing her is something no family should ever have to endure. But the nature of her death, the cruelty, the abuse, the inhumanity has inflicted a level of trauma and sorrow that words can scarcely.
Now you can just see Stephan here. They should have the camera right on his face, I think, while he's listening to this. And that prosecutor, defense lawyer, because he should be seen to be squirming. I remember watching the Chris Watts one, and his feet were shaking and that. Yeah, you want to see him uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. Deserve to be uncomfortable. I'd love to see his face full on. He should know that the whole world is watching.
Convey. Maddie was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, a cousin, a niece, and a cherished soul in our close-knit and loving family. To know her was to love her. Her spirit, her kindness, and her light remained with us, even though her life was so brutally taken. She was not only murdered, she was discarded like she was nothing, thrown into the wilderness. That image haunts our minds and wounds our hearts every day. Our grief has been compounded by the public scrutiny and the cruelty of strangers who speculate and judge without knowing the depth of our loss or the strength of our bond. We are a large family rooted in love, faith, and mutual support, and this tragedy has shaken us to our core, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Many of us suffer sleepless nights, constant anxiety, and depression. The trauma has left scars that will last a lifetime. We turn to God for comfort, and we trust that divine justice will ultimately be done. But we also place our faith in this court to uphold what is just and right. Maddie deserves that. Our family deserves that. We beg you to consider the profound impact this crime has had, not just on one individual, but on an entire family and community. Please ensure that the individual who committed this horrifying act is held fully accountable. Justice for Maddie cannot bring her back, but it can ensure that her life and her death are not dismissed or dishonored. Let there be no leniency for this cruelty. Let there be no question about the value of her life. Let justice be done. Sincerely, Jimena, please, on behalf of the Zambrano family.
Ma'am, can you tell the court your name?
My name is Letizia Nunez. I was Madeleine's aunt.
Can you spell your first and last name for the court report?
Letizia, last name Nunez, Nunez. To Maddie. When I was 7 years old, a beautiful newborn baby was brought into our lives. And I remember being so excited because I was going to be an aunt. You gave me a sense of responsibility from such a young age because I wanted nothing more at that time than to help take care of you, play with you, and overall just make you a happy baby. You're truly missed every single day. I miss your laugh. I miss your smile. I miss your big, beautiful blue eyes. I miss doing the little things like picking you up from school, helping you with your homework, even though we both hated doing that. I just miss you and your presence. But that unfortunately was taken from us. I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today. And no matter what happens or what justice could be brought, it kills me that it doesn't bring me back. I would give up my life if it meant having you here with us. Even though I was your aunt, you always felt much more like a little sister to me. Doing your hair for the father-daughter dances that my dad would take you to, letting you pick out clothes from my closet, doing your makeup and making sure it was very light because your natural beauty was worth more than any makeup product money could buy. I just miss you every single day, and it's left a hole in my heart from the day you've been gone. Your innocence was taken from you, and since clearly that wasn't enough for a certain someone, so was your life. You were the bravest little girl I've ever met, full of love, light, laughter, and as any positive thing I could think of, you were all of those things. I'm so blessed to have spent 13 years with someone so wonderful, and you're going to live on through all of us. Not because of what happened to you, because that didn't define who you were. I'm going to make sure my future kids know who you are, and make sure my grandkids know who you are, and so on. Today I sit here before everyone, and all I can say is that despite what anyone thinks they know, you were so loved by each and every one of your family members, and I know you left this world knowing that. I know it would pain you to see what people have to say about your loved ones, but what I think of it all is that, and what I'd want you to think up in heaven is that it's all just noise. And I find comfort in the fact that we, your family, know you were beyond loved and beyond cared for. I'm so sorry we found out too late. But despite everything that was happening to you behind closed doors, you still remained one of the happiest human beings I've ever met. Someone who loved us deeply and made us all smile. Trying to find light in this horrible situation is very difficult, but one thing I am grateful for is that your last day on this earth was everything you wanted and more.
Yeah, the thing is they didn't know. Nobody suspected anything. Although the grandma might not have liked Stephan, none of them suspected anything for years, including Madeleine's dad, biological dad. He's going to give a statement in a moment. So this is what we have to remember. Stephan Stearns is clever.
You got the birthday you asked for. Your best friends were able to be with you. We cooked the food you specifically asked for. And overall, I have the memory of sitting outside by my pool looking at you and your friends and just thinking, I'm so glad she's having a great time. And look at how grown up she is. How she's blossoming into such an amazing young woman. I could go on forever, but I just want to leave this here by saying I love you so much. And I miss you endlessly. Everything I do from now on, any accomplishments, any decisions I make, anything that happens in my life, I'm going to do it for you and in your honor. I love you, Madeleine Sophia Soto, and I hope you're resting peacefully now.
Can you tell the court your name and then spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Natalie Rosero, Nathalie. Thank you, Your Honor, for having me here today. I've known the family for over 15 years. I am best friends with Maddie's aunt and was roommates with Maddie and her mom during the time her life was ended. All of our kids are the same age, so we always try to keep them united and spend as many holidays together. I have years worth of beautiful pictures, birthdays, Christmas, and Easters we all spent together. Those are the moments I try to hold on to as I stand here today. I'm here to express what the past year and a half has been like in my experience. From the moment we found out that Maddie went missing, life has never been the same. Those first 48 hours we set out to look for her, we spread flowers, went knocking on door to door, going to every business on John Young Parkway from Kissimmee to Sand Lake, asking for the public's help. All while seeing my best friend and her family have emotional breakdowns, feeling completely helpless and terrified for Maddie, thinking how could anyone just take her? It turns out we spent almost 3 days looking in the wrong location because Stephan lied to us about where he last saw her. Your Honor, that's the first time in my life I've ever felt true hate for anyone. The following days were filled with more sadness and distraught. We went from searching for a missing person to looking for a body. I had been searching for her as if my son was missing, so it was very difficult to accept that. We spent the rest of the week canvassing St. Cloud until they eventually found her body. Although there was a moment of relief that at least her body was found, that was the last sense of relief I felt since that day. I was confident I had the power of discernment, but I couldn't even see the evil living in the same house. As details of the sexual abuse and her death came to light, you start to question everything. I even questioned my own faith. Having a full night's sleep became a luxury I could not afford. I was too anxious to sleep, constantly wanting to wake up from a nightmare. It wasn't until I started wishing death on him that I realized I needed help.
Wishing death on him. Oh, this is really getting to me, because imagine how she felt. This is how I think Jen feels as well. That's just the way I feel. She not only family has lost Madeleine, who's like the daughter of her best friend, someone that she spent years with, going on holiday with, and that. But she's got to live with the fact as well. She did not know that this had been happening for years, right next to where she and her son were sleeping. This man was living in that house. Can you imagine how that would make you feel? And then magnify that by 1,000,000 times because it's your daughter and you've served her up like some platter, not without realizing. That's how Jen feels. That's why I won't have a go at Jen, because maybe I don't think she was complicit in anything. I think she's suffering enough. She doesn't need me to stick the knife in as well. She's suffering like this woman is suffering, but 1,000,000 times more because it was her daughter. That's how it feels to me. And that's why I can't be horrible about her. She's got her own God to face, her own judgment to face. And I'm sure she faces it every morning when she opens her eyes and remembers that her daughter's dead. And not only that, she served her up to him. So, that's why I can't, be horrible to Jen about Jen.
I started going to therapy to try to deal with the grief and anger of losing Maddie the way we did. I also had to navigate my son's emotions as he finds out the cruelty that exists in this world. Holidays are not the same. The void is loud. It's hard to trust people. I'm very guarded. I am hoping that when everything here is said and done, there can be some type of closure, even though Maddie's life can never be replaced. That is the only reason I am here today. As decisions are made, please keep in mind that she wasn't even my child, and I feel this way. I cannot imagine the pain, trauma, and deception that Maddie's family has experienced. I do not wish this pain and suffering on any other child or family. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Stephanie online would like to address the court.
We're joined by an online presence. Stephanie, you may unmute your microphone and let the court know how this has affected your family and yourself.
Can you tell the court your first and last name and spell them, please?
I see that her microphone is still on.
Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, hi. Sorry. To the court. Maddie brought a light into her. Maddie brought a light into my life that I would never be able to describe. With her outgoing personality and her infectious smile, her infectious laugh. She was so kind-hearted, adventurous, and loving. Now that she's gone, everything's changed. The silence where her laughter used to be is nothing. The hole in my heart is bottomless, and the pain is indescribable. My family's life has been shattered. What we've endured and what we will continue to endure for the rest of our lives is a kind of pain that I do not wish on anyone. No family should have to lose a loved one in this horrible manner, especially at such too young. Her life was taken. Her future. I should say, never see her fall in love, get married, or build a future that she this while in her not only
turn it. I can finish reading.
I'm so sorry. I'm not in a good place with connection. I apologize.
You may continue. We can
This
hear you.
file and heartless crime has not only affected and traumatized my family, but so many other families as well. It has also impacted her friends, all of those who knew her, as well as there are nights where I can't sleep, nights where I wake up gasping for air, haunted by what Maddie must have gone through. I am consumed by grief. I carry such an anger that it eats away at me on a daily basis. A depression I never thought was possible. The emptiness touches every moment of every day. And everywhere I look, I see her. I hear her laugh in my memories, and then I remember she's gone. And it destroys me all over again. You know what Maddie went through and how terrified she must have been is unbearable. The thought of her suffering haunts me. The cruelty of what was done to her will never stop echoing in my mind. I asked the court for something that I know I could never really have, justice. Because real justice would mean that Maddie would be here with us and not you. You still get to wake up every day, something you cruelly stole from her and from us. The way you discarded Maddie as if she was nothing and her life had no value is a true reflection of your evil. The suffering you caused her should be given back to you tenfold. You do not deserve peace. You do not deserve mercy. You deserve to carry the weight of our lives. And let me be perfectly clear. Where you go after this life will not be where Maddie is. She is in a place of peace surrounded by love. You, on the other hand, will never know peace. You will never see her again. You're not going where she is going. You're going to hell. Thank you, court.
And Stephanie, can you tell the court your first and last name, please?
Stephanie Soto.
Thank you.
Stephanie Soto. Did you get it? I'm sorry.
So that we can hear you. Thank you for your statement.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Can you tell the court your first and last name and spelling?
Kimberly Bialta. Your Honor, I stand here today to give you a little insight of how loved and how losing Maddie has destroyed my family. Although Maddie was not my blood, I consider her my family. And I loved her like my own niece. Maddie was a kind and bubbly child and was growing up to be the most amazing young lady. She loved arts and crafts, Taylor Swift, and sour gummy candy. I had the honor and privilege of spending many holidays and special occasions with Maddie over the years, and I will cherish those memories forever. I do not have joy or happiness left in me because this monster took that away from us when he killed Maddie. Every day I feel like life is not worth living anymore because such a heinous evil exists in this world. There's not a day that goes by where I do not think about all the pain and suffering that Maddie endured. This monster took advantage of her trust and her innocence. This parasite robbed us of every moment we could have had with Maddie. And our lives will never be the same. A life sentence is not punishment enough for what he did to Maddie. However, it gives me comfort to know that he will spend the rest of his miserable life in prison. I hope he lives a long and healthy life. Ask the court to not take any mercy on this poor excuse of a human when imposing his sentence, because he does not deserve it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Can you let the court know your names?
My name is Tyler Wallace.
Tatiana Wallace.
Tyler, what's your relationship to Madeleine Soto?
Madeleine Soto was my daughter.
Go ahead.
Madeleine Soto was my daughter. She was happiness. She was a joy to be around. She was quirky and intelligent. She was curious. A little forgetful like me too. That happens sometimes, but I just loved her so much. And I was not able to be in her life as much as I would like to, due to circumstances and choices I've made, due to the way finances worked. I was strained in my relationship with my daughter, and it was finally getting better. The last time I saw her was in October of 2023, when she had come to visit for a few days. And when I took her back to the airport, I said, you're turning 13 soon. When you turn 13, you have a choice of which guardian you're interested in staying with. Would you like to stay with me and talk to you? And she said, yes, that she would. And so I was this close to having my little girl, sir. Because of the actions of this depraved man, I will never meet the woman she was becoming. And I can't grasp it. I can't grasp the selfishness of you, the deplorability of your actions. You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak. It's torn my family apart. It's led to arguments about who can go where and who can get what and who can help who, but we're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this visited upon her. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates. Thank you.
Has no further witness.
Defense prior to sentencing. Say you have additional.
Can you please tell the court your name?
Okay, my name is Leslie Bajalta.
How are you related to?
I'm a close friend of Maddie's family. Most people only know Maddie as the victim of a heinous crime. But I'd like to talk about Maddie today, and I'd like to share something. This Maddie was. She was an amazing swimmer. She was a fast learner. The moment she set her mind to something, she did it. That's how she was about everything. She dove into everything head first, and she was so resilient. She had the most beautiful smile. It lit up her entire life. Every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, I was so excited to see her, to talk to her about her life. She was so curious. She was so smart. She could sing. She loved to perform for us. I enjoyed watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Bob's Burgers. She even dressed up as Louise one year for Halloween. And I loved her witty, outspoken personality. She's so funny. And that's how I want everyone to leave here thinking about her, remembering her. She lost a lot of privacy towards the end of her life. And I want her to be remembered by her amazing qualities, not the abuse she endured and the exploitation she endured by her abuser. I'll forever celebrate her in my heart and out loud. Maddie was too good for the world, and she did not deserve any of this. Ever since she's been gone, our family, our joy, everything is destroyed. No one smiles anymore. No one laughs. Most days I can't even leave my house. I feel like I can't breathe. And I'm not even her blood relative. I was just so lucky to be a part of her life. He took Maddie away from us. He took away her whole childhood. He took away all her potential that we saw in her, and he took everything from us. And now it's time for him to reap what he sows. This disgusting parasite stole Maddie's youth, her innocence, her life, her joy. He has stolen her sense of safety. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see his disgusting face. I can imagine what he did to her. I know every detail. I've read everything. I will never bring children into this world because of people like him, depraved, disgusting maggots. I definitely do not. I please ask the court to prosecute him to the fullest extent. Show no mercy, exactly how he did Maddie. Justice for Maddie. Thank you.
Okay.
Nothing further.
Any input prior to
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to thank the State Attorney's Office for sparing Mr. Stearns' life. And we do sincerely hope that this will bring closure and help to start the healing process for Ms. Souza.
Court has accepted Mr. Stearns' plea of no contest, first-degree premeditated murder, Madeleine Soto, his plea of guilty to 8 counts of sexual battery on Madeleine Soto under the age of 12, sexual battery upon Madeleine Soto between the ages of 12 and 18, familial custodial role, and brutal lascivious molestation. That's 14 through 20. State, you have an announcement as to notice of intent to seek the penalty.
Your Honor, we will waive the notice of intent to seek death. We will file an electronic null pros for counts 21 through 60. And we are also asking that you inquire about waiving a PSI, just in abundance of caution.
Based on the announcement from the state of Florida, the maximum potential sentence in these cases is life in prison without the possibility of parole. Notice of intent to seek the penalty of death has been waived. Smith, as to 2024 CF 632, is there a waiver of an entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation?
Yes, Judge.
As to the remaining case 2024 CF 1293, is there a waiver of entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation?
Yes, he is not entitled to a PSI on this.
The board has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of shattered families. Everyone in the gallery has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of community mourning and permanently diminished. Folks joining us around the state and the country remotely have heard the opportunity to hear the anguish and fury of the meaningful future that was stolen. This beautiful promise of Madeleine Soto's life extinguished. Stephan, you have had the opportunity to hear that anguish and fury from your actions. As to first-degree premeditated murder of Madeleine Soto, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to the capital sexual battery of Madeleine Soto while she was under the age of 12, for each count you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the sexual battery of Madeleine Soto between the ages of 12 and 18, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. lewd and lascivious molestation of Madeleine Soto are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. These sentences will run concurrently, meaning at the same time. The state of Florida has withdrawn their notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. These are the maximum sentences permitted to the court. Each case will have court costs that will be reduced to a civil judgment.
(2024) CF 632, court costs are $11,163. As to 24 CF 1293, $666.
The court incorporates the addendum to the plea form as to each plea in 2024 CF 632 and 2024 CF 1293. Not announced. You are adjudicated guilty as counts 1 through 8, 24 CF 632. State any further sentencing considerations?
Yes, Your Honor. With regards to count 14 through count 20 in 24 CF 632, the court sentenced to life in prison, there is a 25-year minimum mandatory with that as well. The state also provided the court with a score sheet which encompasses counts 9 through 20. It includes penetration and contact points as well. A copy of that has been provided to defense as well in the court. I haven't been made aware of any corrections or additions or subtractions.
Do not have a copy.
Should be with the plea form, Your Honor.
It's not. I need a copy of the score sheet, please. Ms. Smith, Ms. Borden, the total sentence points pursuant to the Criminal Punishment Code score sheet are 1,278 with a lowest permissible prison sentence in months of 937.5 months. That doesn't include sexual penetration points of 80 times 5 and sex contact points of 40 times 7. Any errors, corrections, or omissions to the score sheet? Ms. Smith? Ms. Borden?
No, Your Honor.
25-year minimum mandatory sentence as to the counts requiring a minimum mandatory sentence are imposed. You will have the right to appeal the judgment and sentences of the court. If you wish to do so, you must do so in writing within the next 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The appeal will be limited to the jurisdiction of the court to impose the sentence. Legality of the sentence itself is a condition of your agreement with the state of Florida. You are agreeing not to appeal the pretrial rulings of the court. State anything else? Defense, anything else? Thank you. Let's place Mr. Stearns under, he's been previously placed under oath.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement. I agree that it's not fair that Madeleine is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I've prayed to God count.
Now, just be prepared to get really angry now. This man, oh my God, this is when, if I would have been Madeleine's grandma, dad, any of those people in that courtroom, all of which are kicking themselves because they didn't see the red flags or the warning signs. The only one who thought there was something strange about the sleeping arrangements was actually his mum, Fruit Loop. Because she thought it was Maddie who was precocious. Or Jen, it was Jen's fault because did she describe her as? She was bipolar, bisexual and something else. It's all Jen's fault, all Maddie's fault. She didn't think it was her precious little Stephen's fault. She was the only person who saw red flags. Honestly, I hope nobody ever has to go through this. But, I think you'd be surprised how people like Stephan, you don't see red flags. You really don't. He's not an aggressive person. He's done it through, just being pathetic, really, almost. Anyway, right, let's watch his... just get prepared to be angry because this drove me mad, what he said. That defense lawyer should be ashamed of herself.
Let's place Mr. Stearns under, he's been previously placed under oath.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement.
Me.
I agree that it's not fair that Madeleine is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before.
Yeah.
I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. And unfortunately, that's just not how he works.
How dare you bring God into it? I've asked God many times to trade places. Unfortunately, that's just not how he works. So it's all God's fault. Well, maybe if you wouldn't have done it in the first place, Stephan, you wouldn't have to be asking God to change places. How dare you bring God into it? Honest to God, when I watched this, I was gasping. I could not believe it. And the other thing, when he said the world is a less vibrant place. Yeah, it was really vibrant because he was getting his end away whenever he felt like it with a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old girl. So, of course, yeah, very vibrant world. Stephan, for you were out filling your boots anytime you felt like it, weren't you? Oh, my God. How dare he? How dare he? What he should have said is, I'm so sorry. I'm a total piece of shit. I shouldn't have done these things to Madeleine. I shouldn't have killed her. I'm so sorry. He's brought it all around to him. It's all like, oh, yes, I can't imagine a world without Madeleine. Oh, poor me. I'm suffering because I haven't got Madeleine anymore. Oh, my God. Fuming. I was fuming. Let me just put it on again. And he never says sorry properly. You'll see, I'm going to play the whole thing without interrupting, I promise. He says, I'm sorry for the pain. I'm sorry for the pain. What pain, Stephan? Sorry for the pain I caused. I'm sorry for the pain I brought to everybody. I'm sorry for the pain I caused Madeleine. No, he doesn't say that. He just says, I'm sorry for the pain. I think he just means his pain, that he hasn't got Madeleine to enjoy anymore. Honestly, what a horrible, horrible, hateful man he is.
Gordon.
No, Your Honor.
25-year minimum mandatory sentence as to the counts requiring a minimum mandatory sentence are imposed. Mr. Stearns, you will have the right to appeal the judgment and sentences of the court. If you wish to do so, you must do so in writing within the next 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The appeal will be limited to the jurisdiction of the court to impose the sentence. Legality of the sentence itself is a condition of your agreement with the state of Florida. You are agreeing not to appeal the pretrial rulings of the court. State, anything else? Defense, anything else? Thank you. place Mr. Stearns under, he's been previously placed under oath.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement. I agree that it's not fair that Madeleine is not here anymore.
Bastard. Sorry.
I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before.
Yeah, yeah.
I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. And unfortunately, that's just not how he works.
Oh, fuming.
I have nothing but sorrow for her loss. And I miss her all the time.
Oh, he misses her. Yeah,
Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well.
Oh,
And she truly was a joy. I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her.
oh God, sorry, I just can't help it. So this has torn me and my family apart as well. She really was a joy. Yeah, she was a joy when I was screwing her and videoing it and, looking at those pictures anytime I felt like it, using her, drugging her. What a joy she was. She was a joy. He was having great fun, wasn't he? But it's torn his family apart as well. Bloody Fruit Loop and Chris, who blame Jen or blame Maddie for being precocious, Jen for being this, that, and the other. It's his fault. It's not Jen's fault. It's not. Jen was stupid, of course she was, but she hasn't done anything to Madeleine in that sense. He did it. Their precious little boy did it. Wasn't Madeleine's fault for being precocious. Even if Madeleine would have thrown herself at him, she was 13 years old. You were younger when it started, of course. It's like, oh well, she was precocious, so it's all, she was 7 years old, but she was precocious. So it was okay. How dare he? How dare he bring God into it? I hope God's looking after her. He keeps talking about God. God doesn't give a shit about you, Stephan. You've got whatever you've got to look at and face in prison, you've got another load of justice to face when you finally shake off that rancid coil, that mortal coil. We should never been born. It's horrible what you did. You abused her and then you murdered her. No, and her dad was right. What he said, he inveigled himself into that whole family, pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. He knows it. Madeleine's dad knows it because he liked him. They got on well together. Oh my God, this awful man. How dare he bring God into it? How dare he say she was a joy? A joy. She was like a plaything to him.
And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice.
I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. Is that before you throttled the voice out of her when you strangled her, Stephan? So no, we'll never get to know how he killed her because he's just pled no contest. He's never going to say what really happened because he'd be ashamed about it. I hope she gets... What does he think? All the family are going to go, oh, what a lovely thing for Stephan to say. How dare he? And I tell you what, these defence lawyers, they're pieces of shit as well. Because if I was his defence lawyer, not that I ever would be, but if I was, I would say to him, don't talk about shit about God and hope she's in the choir as if you have got no right to say those things about Madeleine. You abused her, you murdered her. That's all you are. You weren't her father. You weren't even her stepfather. You were an abuser and a murderer. That's it. Sitting there like some prissy little shit. I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I'll tell you how that father or grandma didn't just leap over the room and strangle him on the spot. I don't know.
I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
I'll never not honour her memory. I miss her all the time. Fuck. Oh, sorry. Oh, God, I just want to swear so bad. I miss her all the time. What, we're supposed to feel sorry for you, Stephan? And I'm sorry for all the pain. That's what he said. Now, does he mean the pain to her? Does he mean the pain to the family? Does he mean the pain to himself? Does he mean the pain to her friends? I mean, what pain, Stephan? Or does it, I think he just means he's sorry for the pain he's going through. Honestly, I do. I don't think he gives a shit about anyone else, what they're feeling. To Stephan, this is a loss to him, more importantly than to anybody else, because he feels hard done by, but he's never going to say what really happened. It's like, listen, it's like you won't say, oh yeah, for 6 years he's been abusing her since she was a little tiny girl. What a twat.
Conclude our plea and sentencing hearing. We'll be in recess.
Yeah, he's been saying, oh yeah, where's my watch? You're right, Paul. That was all he was worried about. Have you found my watch yet? It's in the big purple dragon, next to my Pokemon, this and my popcorn bucket. And, he's just a child. He's oblivious. How those women can sit there, I'd have to at least say, I mean, it's over now. They don't have to be nice to him anymore. I'd just turn around to him and say, you're a complete twat, don't you? Oh, poor Stephan. Bye, adios, amigo. Oh, so it's got to do his fingerprints now. Adios, Stephan. Enjoy prison for the rest of your life. Oh, he's got some stupid women that are writing to him already. He's got some, fangirls. Maybe he's got some fanboys. I don't know. I wonder what they think now, because he's probably been saying now he's not guilty. Now he's pled, well, not guilty, but no contest. That's it. Adios, Stephan. You empath. Stephan the empath. Oh, he's so pathetic. I think these police are very, these guards, they're very restrained as well. The family's been very dignified. They're more dignified. I just don't know. I just couldn't be near him, because I couldn't be responsible for what I would do to him. Pathetic man baby. And he's a parasite. He spent his whole life living off other people. And now he's going to prison. He still doesn't have to do anything. He never worked properly, lived off his mum and dad, and lived off Jen. Proper parasitical person. Just sat there playing his video games, feeding his Tamagotchis or whatever.
No problem, Judge. Thank you.
What did he ever offer to the world that was constructive? Nothing. Do you remember when he told his mum and dad he was going to let Jesus take the wheel? He said he felt all calm and I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel. He keeps talking about God and Jesus. But you know what the thing is? You can get forgiven, of course you can. But you can't get forgiven unless you actually admit what you did first. You know, no contest is not admitting what you did. So he can't get proper forgiveness from God if he wants it. Oh, God, that hurt my ears, that. He can't get proper forgiveness. You can't be forgiven for something that you don't admit you've ever done. You know, I mean, is that difficult to comprehend? You know, he keeps quoting God and Jesus and that, but he's never admitted what he did, so how can he be forgiven? Anyway, that's him, gone. But, you know, it's a very hollow feeling, isn't it? Because although it's justice in one way, it doesn't feel like it, does it? It doesn't feel like it because he's done the no contest. But it's good that Madeleine's sort of videos, all these horrible videos of her, and all the details about, you know, her death and everything are not going to be all over the internet. I think that's good. But just feels hollow. Like a Pyrrhic victory, as I say, is hollow inside. It's like he's going to prison. But, you know, he'll have a comfortable life in prison, really, won't he? Unless he does get attacked by inmates or whatever. He'll be in with the other pieces of shit who are also pieces of shit like him, won't he? You know, he'll get his commissary money from his mum and dad or through whatever fangirls who's sending him stuff or whatever. He'll get his Tamagotchis probably and his, what was he asking for? All sweets, wasn't he? And things like that. You know, yeah, it won't be the most uncomfortable life. You know? Oh, exactly. He'll get his commissary. He'll get his phone calls. It's not, nobody wants to go to prison, obviously, but it's not that bad, is it? I mean, he'll get looked after. He won't have to, he's parasitical again. Won't have to pay an electric bill. Won't have to worry where the next big shop, where he's going to get the money for the food. Won't have to worry where he's getting, how he's paying the water bill, or doesn't have to worry about going to work every day, even though he doesn't feel like it. You know, he'd just be cosseted. And if he's ill, he'll get looked after in the prison hospital. You know, probably looked after better than us. Makes me crazy. You know? Oh, dear. That's exactly what I think Friday. He got that new drug offline. I think he overdosed her. I think he did. Too. That's exactly what I think. But the only thing that worries me is that, you know, that challenges that view is they did say that she'd possibly been strangled, didn't they? But I don't think he would strangle her. I think he drugged her. He went off waiting for the drug to work like he's probably done a million times, but he'd give her too much. That's what I think. But anyway. Yeah. So, listen, thank you for being here with me to share my outrage. Honestly, I did watch this last night and I thought I can't come on tonight and talk about it. One, I was too angry, I was too tired, and you know, I'm not very good in the evenings, so I'm better on morning streams. I've got more energy to swear and get angry. But thank you for joining me to talk about it, because Madeleine deserves it. And I'll say Thursday night in members, I'm going to show all the pictures I've got, the humiliating pictures of Stephan, because I don't give a shit about him. I want to see him humiliated. So all that humiliation that he did to Madeleine, I hope the more people, the better see it, because Stephan's button mushroom. Oh. I mean, it isn't very nice, so be prepared. You might not want to watch it, but put it this way, don't get any walnut whips in that night. Okay, I'm going, but thank you, as I say. So yeah, it's a little bit of a hollow victory, but at least it's, you know, a guilty verdict, and it's, you know, it's not satisfactory, especially not the no contest. But we'll see what happens. At least we don't have to look at his face anymore. Thank you, Sheep Farming, who sent me a super chat. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to put up my banner. Thank you so much for caring about Madeleine, this little girl. And you know, you could see from that, she had a big family that cared about her. But they didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew. Stephan knew. Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Thank you.